Good evening, guys, and this is Demonick Angel here again, and today we're going to talk about Hereditary Witchcraft. I hope I can give this subject the little bit of articulation it deserves, because I've heard this brought up a lot amongst occultists and stuff, and it's pretty hard to define. In terms of what it specifically is, but it is, I think it has some sort of characteristic behaviors, I guess. So, I guess for myself personally, that's a good place to start. I believe that I got this gift, I believe I got it from my father's family. And I basically, like a lot of other of you hereditary witches out there, I would dream about deceased people. And very frequently as a child, we used to go to baseball games to watch like my friends, and I would go to the cemetery that was really close by. I would just ditch that and naturally gravitate towards, cemeteries, something that so I've always been drawn to this kind of stuff, either, not just as a way to explain it, because that comes as an adult, but just as a natural pull. I think that it's just always been that draw for me. Like with other hereditary witches, it's in some way you're drawn to death, or the occult. Usually, obviously, from a very young age, and that can just mean the same kinds of things as I said. Dreaming about people that you don't know, and sometimes my dreams are different. Like I dream that I'm talking to a person that is deceased, but sometimes I feel like and that's how, I never really, it seems like I never really get to control which way that I will perceive it. But now that I'm an adult and stuff, it's a lot easier to handle. But yeah, as a kid, I was just dreaming about, people I never met most nights, and going to the cemetery. But I was always drawn, even from a kid, to like touching the headstones, to just feel the energy. I was naturally drawn to feeling the energy. Each grave represents a different life of that person, and it's, they lived this time to this time, and it marks, this person's, the start of their journey to the finish, as far as that life went for them. And to me, I love that connection with people, dead, and alive. I naturally, I would naturally wanted to feel that way, to connect with people. And obviously sometimes I've learned, that some headstones, right, don't give off the best vibes, so I shouldn't touch those. And I trust my intuition about what is going to feel right for me and what is not. So, but just basically, I do think a lot of hereditary witches just have a really strong natural way of being a little bit more intuitive than others sometimes. With, these are usually people like myself, like I said, have dreams about people that they don't know, and it's usually about needing help, needing empathy, ultimately, being drawn to, you know, and as well, just a general curiosity about spiritual stuff. I mean, obviously most little kids are not too interested in spiritual stuff, but I find that people who have like a line of witches will, even the kids, will be profoundly spiritual. And that's how I was. I would bury dead animals that I would find. And like, I would imagine myself as a little priest in this role. And obviously, even being burdened by the heavier things, like, I would think, wow, I wish I could be a priest when I grow up, because I love healing. I mean, that's what I felt. I still feel that's basically what I feel is my thing, is my purpose, you know, or I'm going to make it that. And I just thought, well, I can't do it though, because I'm a girl, and when I'm a woman, when I grow up, I can't do that. So, you know, being burdened by the conflict between religion and spirituality, usually spiritual children are troubled by those types of things. But along with a natural attraction to the paranormal, to those dreams, and, you know, spiritual concerns, I think that witches are extroverts by nature in a lot of ways. I do think that, like, I like to be alone a lot, you know, I love to read. I can be by myself for a long time and be completely fine with it. And, you know, I can be inside of my own head. I mean, I've not always been like that, but, you know, I can enjoy just me and still have a rich experience type of thing. But ultimately, I'm an extrovert. I really just am compelled to try to heal people by raising their vibration, is what I think it is. So, like, whether it's dead people or living people, I want to help. I have that natural empathetic connection, like most of you other witches out there, that it's just a knowingness of, you see somebody sad and you can, you know, intuit what they need to hear. And it's not being fake when you can really be there for someone and then really perceive what at that moment that person needed to hear. You're raising their vibration by helping them heal themselves. So, and essentially healing their chakras a little bit. So basically, if you feel compelled to do energy work all the time, then you're probably a witch. And if it's happened to you since, you know, you can remember, there you go. I do think that extroverted need to just heal people, it doesn't matter. And to me, that doesn't matter. I think that it works the same on both the living and the dead. People get their chakras blocked. They get stuck in habits and you know, tragedies. And I just, you know, ever since I was a child as well, I could just know what this person needs to hear to feel better. I mean, obviously I've learned that all I do is just try to heal other people. It just drains me, and I have a hard, you know, when I was younger, I had a hard time really loving myself. I could always find a way to heal people, but I didn't think that healing myself was quite as important. But I obviously realized, like, being a complete self, a put-together person, is actually pretty important in order to heal other people, because you're giving, it's an energy exchange. And I want, you know, when you yourself are doing good, you can obviously heal people a lot better than if that wasn't the circumstance for you. So I just I think that intuition also involves probability and abstract thinking, and you know, deduction. So if those are things that you are just naturally good at, then I think that ultimately that just might be what witchcraft is. And also, you know how to protect yourself without knowing about magic, without knowing any formal stuff. I mean, people that I know who are just hereditary witches as well, and myself, and I also think that my father is. So they just can imagine something that they want, and usually make that manifest. It's skipping all the steps of ritual and ceremony and literature, you know, and it's just a true understanding that behind intelligence is my animalistic side that is constantly speaking. And a lot of people, like us witches here, we can hear that subconscious voice a little bit more, I guess, is a good way to put it, and just know the way that you want to project yourself, or just a change in consciousness that needs to happen in order for you to obtain your goal or influence others, just by simply, you know, your emotional state, the atmosphere and the vibes. Usually, like for me, for my family as well, I think that people who are witches, they seem to have like a almost like a bubble around their aura, because they're just used to protecting themselves. They just automatically build this sort of bubble around their aura. Usually, younger people who are hereditary witches get overwhelmed by sensation. And, you know, if you're an intuitive thinker and that's your dominant thing, it's just overwhelming to be around people, and especially obviously in urban areas and that kind of thing. So they'll get, you know, moody and go be by themselves to just set up this bubble of protection. And it's just the knowing of how to change your consciousness and resonance without ever articulating it that way. It's just that trust in the subconscious, in the animal part of the brain, that connection with, hey, I just intuit this and I trust it, you know. I do think that people, you know, as we develop, people who just question their intuition will just develop a different way of thinking eventually, because if you just stop trusting it, you could, you know, and you don't use it, you lose it, I guess. But if you just believe in and don't question what your self is telling you, what your energy is telling you, and you know that energy that you are perceiving and registering in your mind is telling you something. Yeah, you know, I don't know if that helps you guys. I don't know if we all know if we're all witches or what. I mean, that's pretty much what I like to think of myself as. Chaos magician, or just simply witch. I like either one. But, yeah, I hope that's good, because I think that's pretty much what hereditary witchcraft is a really strong intuition, and just that ability to connect with to resonate with any situation that you need to resonate with, to see beyond what is just in front of our faces in reality. And some people see it and some people don't. Like, I see all this with my third eye now. But I know that, you know, if I'm in a restaurant and I perceive a ghost in the corner, that not everybody else is like seeing that right now. Some people can see it and some people can't. So we're all different, but there is a group of us who see. That's all for tonight, guys. Please check out my Patreon page. I want to do a lot more content, especially this month, where I've got a sort of a moving situation going on. And so, in between packing and moving, I'll be doing some videos here. So please check out my Patreon, because I don't monetize here on YouTube. And if you want to support me, then please do it at the link below. Thank you.